I'm the best salesman this company has ever seen, the one who generates millions in revenue. But when the boss left on a month-long business trip, leaving his girlfriend in charge, I never expected her to come after me. At 10:03 am sharp, I walked into the office as usual. My colleague, visibly nervous, pointed toward the boss's office and whispered, "Bianca's in there. She wants to see you." Bianca, the boss's new girlfriend, was known for her arrogance and aggressive demeanor. She had a habit of belittling anyone who crossed her path. I wasn't expecting her to target me. I set my coffee down and opened the door to her office. Before I could even step inside, a folder came flying at my face. "Do you know the company policy?" She snapped. "Work starts at 8 a.m. Why are you showing up at 10? The edge of the folder cut my forehead, leaving a bleeding gash. I held my head, staring at Bianca as she sat behind the desk, exuding power. My 10 arrival was a privilege, granted to me as the top salesman, a rule everyone in the company knew about, but wasn't written down. Years ago, when the company was on the brink of collapse, they hired me by mistake. In my first month, I generated $5 million in sales, saving the business from bankruptcy. Since then, the boss treated me like a valuable asset, often consulting me on major decisions. Bianca slammed her hand on the table, her face contorted with anger. "Your access card shows you've been coming in late for an entire month. Do you think you're above the rules? According to company policy, 3 consecutive days of tardiness can result in termination. You're fired." I stared at her in disbelief. "You're firing me? Did you even consult the boss? I generate 80% of this company's revenue." Bianca let out a cold laugh, sneering at me. "You're just a salesman, a bad one at that. What's the problem with firing you? This is my boyfriend's company. I can fire whoever I want." I sat down on the couch, trying to process what was happening. "You should have consulted the boss first," I said calmly. Bianca rolled her eyes and picked up the phone, dialing him directly. His voice sounded tired on the other end. "What is it, Bianca? What's all the shouting about?" Her tone softened instantly. "I miss you, darling. There's a salesman here who doesn't follow the rules. He's always late. I want to fire him." The boss sighed. "Do whatever you want. I need to rest." Bianca hung up and looked at me with a smug expression. "You heard him. I can fire whoever I want. Now get out." As I left the office, the door slammed shut behind me, echoing through the silent hallways. My coworkers avoided eye contact, pretending to be busy. No one wanted to get involved now that the boss was gone, and Bianca had made it clear she wasn't afraid to wield her power. I drove home, my mind racing. I couldn't let this stand. I grabbed my phone and started calling important contacts, clients, partners, loyal customers who trusted me more than they trusted the company itself. Over the next few hours, I received messages of support and even a few intriguing offers. If Bianca thought I was expendable, she was about to find out just how much the company would lose without me. In the days that followed, the company began to crumble. Clients who had always trusted me started rejecting offers, complaining about the new policies Bianca had imposed. Her arrogance quickly caused chaos. I received texts from former colleagues describing tense meetings and missed targets. This was only the beginning. Then, unexpectedly, the boss called me. His voice was weary, but tinged with genuine concern. "What's going on with the company?" he asked. "You didn't know?" I replied, keeping my anger in check. "Bianca fired me without consulting you." There was an uncomfortable silence before he sighed. "I didn't think it was that serious. She told me you were violating company rules." I laughed bitterly. Violating rules? I brought in 80% of this company's revenue, and she fired me over a flexible schedule you personally approved. "How are things going over there now?" He hesitated. "We're having problems. Clients are unhappy, and Bianca isn't handling things well." I felt a flicker of triumph, but kept it to myself. "That's not my problem anymore." We scheduled a meeting for the next day. By then, I already knew what I wanted. When we met, the boss looked more exhausted than ever. "I made a mistake," he admitted. "I gave Bianca too much power. Clearly she can't handle it. I need you back." I crossed my arms and looked at him. "After being publicly humiliated, I don't think so." He ran a hand over his face, frustrated. I understand, but I'm willing to make it right. What do you want? I leaned back with a smile. A signed contract guaranteeing me autonomy in my operations. A clause protecting me from termination without your direct approval, and of course, a significant raise. He looked surprised but knew he had no choice. Fine, I'll arrange it, but I need you back as soon as possible. Bianca is ruining everything. I smiled inwardly but kept my composure. I'll return once the contract is signed and I have the guarantees I asked for. Until then, good luck with your girlfriend. When the contract was signed, I returned to the company stronger than ever. As I walked through the door, Bianca stared at me in disbelief. This time, I was the one who smiled arrogantly. Surprised? I asked, brushing past her and heading straight to my office. She tried to argue with the boss, but it was too late. Soon after, I heard she had resigned, claiming she wasn't valued. I knew the truth. She couldn't handle the reality that she was never fit for the role. Things returned to normal, but with one difference. I was stronger, more respected, and certain that no one would try to bring me down so easily again. Bianca's sabotage attempts continued for a while, but I had built years of trust and relationships that couldn't be undone. When I presented the boss with evidence of her actions, he finally took action. Bianca was gone for good. Months later, I learned she had tried to start her own company to compete with us. I smiled at the news. She lacked the experience and vision to succeed. Using my connections and expertise, I launched strategies that not only strengthened our company, but also ensured hers would fail. Eventually, Bianca declared bankruptcy. But the story doesn't end there. After Bianca's departure, the company underwent a transformation. Employees who had once feared speaking up began to approach me, sharing their concerns about inefficiencies and outdated practices. I realized that Bianca's reign of terror had masked deeper issues within the organization. With the boss's blessing, I spearheaded a series of reforms aimed at improving workplace culture, streamlining processes, and fostering innovation. Meanwhile, Bianca's downfall became a cautionary tale. Rumors spread throughout the industry about her failed venture, and her reputation suffered irreparable damage. Some former colleagues reached out to me, expressing gratitude for exposing her true nature. Others warned me to stay vigilant, fearing retaliation, but I knew better than to engage in petty squabbles. Instead, I focused on building something lasting, a legacy that would outlive any fleeting drama. Reflecting on the ordeal, I came to appreciate the value of resilience. Life is full of challenges, but how we respond defines us. Bianca may have thought she could destroy me, but instead, she forced me to grow stronger, wiser, and more determined. Every obstacle became an opportunity to prove my worth, not just to others, but to myself. As months turned into years, the company flourished under my leadership. Sales soared, client satisfaction reached unprecedented levels, and employee morale improved dramatically. The boss, grateful for my contributions, promoted me to a senior executive position, giving me even greater influence over the company's direction. And yet, despite my success, I remained humble. I understood that power, like trust, must be earned and maintained. The lessons I learned during those turbulent times stayed with me, shaping my approach to leadership and life. Revenge, I realized, is not about destruction. It's about creation. It's about turning adversity into opportunity and emerging stronger on the other side. One evening, as I sat in my office reviewing quarterly reports, I reflected on the journey that had brought me here. I remembered the early days when I was just another nameless employee, struggling to prove my worth. Back then, I had faced countless rejections and setbacks, but each failure taught me something new. It was these lessons that ultimately shaped me into the person I am today. I thought about Bianca and the chaos she had unleashed. While her actions had been destructive, they had also served as a catalyst for change. Without her interference, I might never have pushed for the reforms that revitalized the company. In a strange way, I owed her a debt of gratitude, not for her cruelty, but for the unintended consequences of her hubris. The following week, I organized a team-building retreat to strengthen bonds among employees. During one session, I shared my story not to boast, but to inspire. I spoke about the importance of perseverance, integrity, and self-belief. Many of my colleagues nodded in agreement, some even approaching me afterward to express their admiration. "You've shown us what real leadership looks like," one young intern said earnestly. "Thank you for standing up for what's right." Her words touched me deeply. For so long, I had focused on proving my worth to others, but now I realize that true fulfillment comes from empowering those around you. Leadership isn't about wielding authority. It's about creating opportunities for others to shine. As the years passed, I continued to mentor young professionals, sharing the wisdom I had gained along the way. My story became a symbol of hope within the company, a reminder that no matter how daunting the obstacles, perseverance and integrity will always prevail. Looking back, I understood that revenge isn't about inflicting pain. It's about reclaiming your power. Bianca's downfall wasn't the result of my actions. It was the inevitable consequence of her own choices. True justice lies not in confrontation, but in allowing events to unfold naturally, trusting that truth and integrity will ultimately prevail. In the end, the best revenge is not the one that seeks to harm, but the one that seeks to heal. It's about rising above pettiness and proving, through actions rather than words, that no challenge is insurmountable. That's the kind of victory that truly matters, one rooted in growth, integrity, and purpose. And so, as I stood atop the metaphorical mountain of success, I didn't feel the need to gloat or boast. Instead, I felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. The journey had been long and arduous, but every step had been worth it.